Imagine how much more productive, efficient, and stress-free your life could be if you could automate tasks like calculating expenses, answering customer inquiries, or even planning your meals, all with just a few simple prompts. Today, we'll use ChatGPT to build 3 incredibly useful tools: a simple calculator, a chatbot for an Italian restaurant, and a customized meal planner. By the end of this video, you'll see how easy it is to boost your productivity and free up your time for what really matters, all without writing a single line of code. Ready to unlock the potential of AI? Let's dive in. Before we dive into the hands-on demos, let's cover some essential concepts about ChatGPT and prompt engineering. ChatGPT is powered by something called a large language model. LLMs are advanced AI systems trained on vast amounts of text data from the internet. They generate human-like text by breaking down language into smaller pieces, which we call tokens. This process is called tokenization, and it helps the AI understand and generate text more effectively. One token usually corresponds to 4 characters of common English text. However, the tokenization process differs from each model, so it's best to check your input on each system's tokenizer page. But just knowing how these models work isn't enough. To get the best results, you need to know how to craft effective prompts, a skill called prompt engineering. Let's recall last week's video on the components of an effective prompt. This is what we'll be referring to throughout our demos. Keep in mind these are best practices, and not every prompt you create will need all components to be effective. Suppose you prompt ChatGPT with something like, "Write an email." The response you get will likely be generic and unhelpful. However, let's try updating our prompt with a specific action and context, like write a professional email to a potential client informing them of a new product launch. As you can see, the AI understands better and produces a much more useful response. We'll revisit this concept in our demos, but if you'd like a recap on effective prompt engineering, be sure to check out last week's video. Now let's get into building some awesome tools. First, we will build a simple personal calculator with ChatGPT. And guess what? You don't need any prior coding experience to follow along. Let's get started by logging into OpenAI's platform. If you don't have an account, sign up. It's quick and free to begin. Once you're in, you'll see a simple interface where you can start typing prompts to explain to the AI model what we want it to do. For this demo, our goal is to create a basic calculator that can handle addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. In last week's video on prompt engineering, we introduced a process called chain of thought. This helps the model break down complex tasks into more manageable subtasks. Today, we put the concept into action by prompting ChatGPT to break down its thought process, step by step, to ensure that it understands the calculations we need. Pause the video at any time if following along and building your own calculator. First, let's always start by defining the action or task. We want to build a simple calculator with a purpose that can add, subtract, multiply, and divide. We also specify the desired output type by requesting an explanation for each step of the calculation. By feeding some numbers into our calculator instead of just typing them in, we guide ChatGPT using a chain of thought approach. This way, it will think through the calculations logically, just like we do. Let's craft our initial prompt. Let's build a simple calculator that can add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Please explain in plain language each step of the calculation as you go, using a step-by-step approach. Let's use 8 and 4 to perform an addition. Now let's enter our prompt and check out the model's response. Great! Now that we've seen how the model handles addition, let's expand to other basic operations like subtraction, multiplication, and division, all using the same chain of thought method. In this second example, let's test the model for subtraction, multiplication, and division. We again ask ChatGPT to explain each step so we can understand how it arrived at its conclusion. Pause to review the results. The chain of thought approach is super useful for more complex tasks where you want to follow along with the logic, and is a technique commonly used in fields like software development and engineering. For the next calculation, let's use a more complex operation. Let's ask the model to multiply 12 by 7 and then subtract 15, explaining each step in detail. Now, let's see the model's response. As you can see, ChatGPT describes its logical thinking, and just like that, with ChatGPT and a little bit of chain of thought guidance, we've built a basic calculator. In future videos, we'll dive deeper into more complex projects, but for now, give this a try and see what other simple tools you can create. You might be surprised by how intuitive it is. Now let's move from personal to professional and craft a tailored AI assistant for our Italian restaurant, Bella Italia. We'll run through the general steps, from initial creation of the custom GPT to fine-tuning and integration, ensuring our chatbot can handle reservations, menu inquiries, dietary restrictions, and more. Let's start building our intelligent culinary companion. First, navigate to the Create a GPT section. By clicking Create, we initiate the creation of GPT instance. Now with our custom GPT instance created, let's set the model up for the foundational task by entering our initial prompt. Pause the video at any time if needed. You are an AI assistant for Bella Italia, a cozy Italian restaurant. Help customers with reservations, answer questions about the menu, handle dietary restrictions, and gather feedback. Always respond in a polite, professional manner, offering concise information and asking clarifying questions when necessary. As you can see, the model responds with the next steps for setting up your custom chatbot. Let's go ahead with the name and picture and move on to testing and refining our chatbot. To test and refine its capabilities, we will provide specific scenarios so we can verify and adjust its responses. Now let's see how our chatbot will handle the following 4 scenarios. The first is a special request on an online booking for a quiet table for 4. We'll also check how it responds to questions on dietary restrictions, in this case about gluten-free options. We'll test its knowledge on the menu details by seeing if it can suggest a wine pairing for a pasta dish. And lastly, let's test its ability to ask for dining feedback politely. Each prompt tests and refines how well BellaBot handles typical restaurant interactions. Adjust and update the prompts based on test results to ensure accuracy and appropriateness. Now that you're satisfied, let's move on to the configure screen. As you can see, ChatGPT auto-populated the fields based on what we fed the model. This is where you can review and make changes to the name, description, or instructions. You can also remove and add conversation starters. To further enhance BellaBot's responses, you might consider fine-tuning. This process involves training your bot on specific data from your restaurant, like past customer chats or menu details. Simply select the Upload Files button to upload documents such as customer interaction logs or your menu PDF to provide real-life examples. During configuration and fine-tuning, keep an eye on token usage. As we talked about earlier, each piece of text, whether input or output, is broken down into tokens, which are chunks of text the model understands. Managing tokens is crucial as exceeding limits can truncate data or cut off responses. You can also toggle to select or deselect OpenAI's other capabilities, like allowing the model to browse the web or DALL-E for results. Now that Bella Italia's chatbot is configured, let's integrate it. First, hit Create to generate your menu of sharing options. You can embed it on your restaurant's website for reservations, connect it to social media for customer engagement. Just keep in mind that this GPT will live in ChatGPT's environment. However, with its built-in shareability function, ChatGPT makes it easy and accessible for users. Depending on the application you've created and the environments your business currently uses, the steps required for integration will vary. This step might require technical assistance for complex systems like POS, or it might be a simple process if using a built-in feature. Choose the best method that suits your operational needs. And there you have it, a fully functional, easy-to-use AI chatbot for Bella Italia, ready to enhance your customer service and streamline operations, all without a single line of code. Remember, continuous monitoring and regular updates are crucial to ensure your chatbot remains effective and up-to-date with your restaurant's offerings and customer expectations. Use customer feedback to further refine its responses and expand its capabilities. In this final demo, we're going to show you how to make a custom meal plan using ChatGPT. Whether you're looking to eat healthier, save time on your meal planning, or experiment with new recipes, ChatGPT can help you create a meal plan tailored to your needs. And the best part? You don't need any coding experience. To get started, we need to provide the model with some basic information. Think about your preferences such as dietary restrictions, favorite cuisines, and the number of meals you want per day. For example, you might have dietary restrictions like no eggs, or you could have favorite ingredients and types of cuisines. And perhaps you want to plan for 2 meals a day like lunch and dinner. Next, let's specify any special instructions or limitations for your meal plan. Are you looking to minimize grocery trips? Or maybe you want recipes with a particular prep time. We also specify the output type if we want the results in a table or list or step-by-step format. Great. We have all the information we need to craft our prompt for a meal plan based on your preferences and goals. Let's ask ChatGPT to create a 7-day meal plan for lunch and dinner based on the following criteria. No eggs, focus on using chicken, tomatoes, and mushrooms. My favorite cuisines are Thai, Italian, and Japanese cuisine, and we added other special instructions like, each meal should take no more than 45 minutes to prepare, and the plan should minimize grocery trips by using repeated ingredients. Once the model generates the meal plan, take a moment to review it. Make sure it aligns with your preferences and goals. You can always tweak the prompt if necessary to get a more accurate result. If you're happy with the meal plan, go ahead and save it. To make any adjustments, simply modify your prompt and ask for a new plan. If you have vacation plans, you can adjust the frequency of results from a month to a week to suit your schedule. Or we can swap out a meal from chicken to vegetarian. Simply update and review your results. And that's it. You've just created a personalized meal plan using ChatGPT, all without any coding and within a few minutes. And that brings us to the end of today's workshop. We've covered some exciting ground, from building a simple calculator and creating a chatbot for an Italian restaurant to generating personalized meal plans. But before we wrap up, let's briefly recap the general steps. First, we defined the action and purpose, then we crafted our initial prompt. We also ran tests to monitor results and made further adjustments to optimize results. By iteratively refining our model with prompt engineering techniques, we guide the model closer to our desired outputs. Today's video was aimed at those of you with no coding experience, but if you're ready to dive deeper, we'll be releasing a separate video tackling more advanced examples that require basic coding skills. If you found today's content valuable, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on future videos. I hope you've enjoyed learning together, and I'll see you in the next one.